Hello, welcome to my Instagram live here on the Earle Wellbeing Instagram channel. Very nice to be back with you, and as you can see, I am sat here somewhere slightly different and rather lovely. I'm sorry that the weather isn't better because behind me there are the most amazing snow-capped mountains in Switzerland. Yeah, I'm here at the most incredible wellness spa and resort called Bad Ragaz, which I'll tell you about in just a minute. But let's get our friends on Facebook and YouTube. Hopefully they will be able to join us. Hello, Facebook. How is everybody? Hello, YouTube, for those watching later on catch up. Welcome to my Instagram live today, if you're watching me in real time on Tuesday. As you can see, I have changed locations. So I am in Switzerland. I was just saying to our friends on Instagram here that behind me are normally visible, beautiful snow-capped mountains, amazing scenery, beautiful parkland. It really is an absolute haven of nature and wellness, which is not surprising because I'm here staying at a place called Bad Ragaz, the Grand Resort Bad Ragaz, which is the most phenomenal wellbeing spa. I mean, it's just extraordinary. They've got 70 doctors and therapists that come here. They've got an amazing beauty spa. They do thermal water treatments. They do a lot with gut health and digestion, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm here for a few days. I'm doing some research. I'm going to review it for Earle Wellbeing for the magazine and also online, and also make some films for YouTube, which you'll be able to watch later, and interview some of the experts here who are at the cutting edge of wellness to bring us all amazing wellness wisdom that we can trust, which is what it's all about. Angela says, and you were in Northumberland swimming at the weekend. I was. And I obviously got a bit of a taste for cold water dipping because this morning I got up and they have not one, but at least two cold water pools here, you know, quite small ones. And I went in. Yeah, it was 17 degrees, very cold. And it just reminded me, actually, I was talking to one of their doctors yesterday, saying that cold water, you know, even 20 seconds of turning the shower down cold is incredibly beneficial. So, you know, you don't need to come to an expensive spa or be exotic to get a bit of cold water therapy every day. And apparently the best time of day to do this is between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. Because when we talked before about circadian rhythms and getting the body into balance, what that does early in the day is it gives the body just a little bit of a shock, a little bit of a trauma. Come on, 20 seconds. We can do this, yeah? 20 seconds, you can do it. And that gives you just enough of the cortisol spurt to carry you through the day, to cope with stress and anxiety and all those things we might be feeling at the moment. But it doesn't overload the body. And obviously, if you are someone like Wim Hof, then you might want to break the ice and, you know, go and sit somewhere remote and really cold for hours at a time or whatever it is that he does. But you don't need to do that to get a little bit of a wellness fix. Hi, Amy. Nice to see you. Melanie here says, I cold shower every day. I love it. Hi, Hilary. Oh, yeah, Angela, the beach at Newton is really exceptional. Just getting out into that fresh air. I was so pleased, actually, because I put a little poll up on my Instagram at the weekend saying, you know, it's a beautiful sunny day across the British Isles. How many of us are going to get outside and get some fresh air? And I think it was 94% were actually going to go outside, which was really good. So today, I actually put a little preview on my Instagram stories and grid this morning, first thing, when I woke up, along with a picture of my view, so you could see where I am. Just to say, if you've got any questions, particularly the focus is going to be on IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and gut health. I've talked a lot about this before. I'm going to be joined by an amazing nutritionist, and we're going to take questions, which is really good. And I've got quite here. I'm just being told the lighting is quite dark on Facebook. I wonder why. I've got Lainey here. I have got a little light. How about that? Is that any better? Because I know that will go on YouTube a little bit later as well. Let me see if I do, hang on, if I do this. Oh no, that's going to do a special effect. That's going to turn me into something, I don't know, you know, those special effects where you end up with kind of like puppy ears or whatever. But do you want to move that ring light maybe, Lainey, just a little bit around a bit? Sorry, the lighting is not great. And it also doesn't help because I'm backlit, because this is, although it's kind of grey, it is quite bright. So yeah, apologies for being a little bit dark on Facebook. Is that? No, I am really dark, aren't I? I'm sorry about that. But we're going to, my lovely Lainey is here helping me behind the scenes, so she will see. Okay, it's going to go darker for a second, but hopefully it'll go lighter again. Why don't you move that one literally right there?
Yeah,
because I think hopefully on Instagram we're pretty much okay. Sarah in Suffolk, advice on bloating. Fascinations Headwear says, love the colours in your dress. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, just sort of suited being up in the mountains. It's actually one that I bought a couple of years ago now from a Spiga. We do have a Liz Loves on a Spiga fashion, which is a really great ethical British brand, so I love everything a Spiga. Apparently it's better when I sit forward, according to Rachel. So, and peer into the camera. So, that's not hugely better, is it? I don't know why the lighting is not so good, but anyway. Can you cope with me being in the dark? It's got kind of a longer exposure. Yeah. Anyway, apparently it's not too awful. So there you go. Anyway, as I always say when I'm doing my podcasts, it's actually all about the content. It's less about what we look like and it's more about what we say. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Hi Trisha, hi Nikki. You're losing connection, are you? Sometimes it helps on Instagram, if you log out and then log back in again. But let's see. So, we are going to be talking about bloating. We're going to be talking about probiotics. Trisha made my yummy Easter biscuits. Excellent. We've got here, what's this? Cashmere Bedding says, I love swimming in the sea here in Moray, but I haven't taken the plunge yet this year. We'll do in May. I wonder what the temperature is where you are. Where is Moray? Tell me. Is it not somewhere that I'm familiar with? Okay, it's a little bit better, says Rachel. So here we go. So I'm going to see if we can get Camilla with us. And I do have already a whole list of questions. So hopefully, even if we don't get round to yours, we will kind of cover some general topics about what to do about gut health. And I should just say that one of the things that we're going to be talking about is Optibac's brand new probiotic, which I am seriously impressed with. So I just wanted to give this a bit of a shout out. It's called Everyday Max, which is really helpful to have something for every day. And we do have a Liz Loves, which is really good. So Liz Loves is 15% off if you want to have a look at any of the Optibac products. So let me just check. I think it's 15%. Where are we? No, it's 20%. Yeah, excellent. 20% on the Everyday Max supplement, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. So, let's get going here. Optibac. Let's see, because she has a very fascinating backstory, which I hope she's going to share with us. Hi.
Hi, Liz. Can you hear me?
Can hear you really well, loud and clear. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just going to turn my volume up.
Whereabouts are you? Because I'm in Switzerland.
I know. I'm so jealous of your backdrop. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm actually in Hampshire at the moment, sunny Hampshire, but I actually live on the coast. So I actually live in West Wittering, which is near Chichester.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that you were saying about the cold water therapy, because I go in the sea and have my cold water. Yeah. So I'm a big.
And how often do you do that? I mean, is that a daily thing for you?
So I know, not daily. Actually, I've only done it probably about 3 or 4 times this year. But yeah, I would like to get into it a bit more. But I find it so invigorating, especially in the morning.
It's just extraordinary. And, looking at the science, as you will know, as a professional, and the impact on our hormones, on cortisol, on stress, anxiety, depression, mood, sleep quality, all of those things. If you can get a cold water dip, or even, I was thinking this morning, as I did actually submerge myself in this really fabulous cold water pool, I was thinking actually, if you ran a cold bath and just got in, because the great thing about being in the pool this morning was that I could go all the way in, so my entire body was covered at the same time, which of course you don't get if you're in the shower. But if you're brave enough, you could sit there for a bit and then you could just lie back and, get your shoulders out. And even if you wanted to, put your head underneath. Yeah,
it's surprising, isn't it, how used to it you get? Like it takes I would say a minute of kind of, and then you get used to it. Yeah. And then you just feel amazing afterwards.
And it's almost kind of psychological in a way. It's your brain taking over. It's like when you miss breakfast, if you're doing intermittent fasting, it's kind of your brain going into panic mode saying, oh my goodness, I'm going to starve. You're not feeding me. Where's my normal breakfast? You know, I need some toast and jam or whatever. And actually, if you just say to your brain, it's completely fine. You know, we'll be eating in a couple of hours. Don't worry about it. Let's just get on with the day.
Yeah, yeah.
It just sort of calms you down. But now let's get into today's subject, which is all about IBS, gut health, bloating. And I'm just so keen to talk to you about this, not only because of your extraordinary knowledge and professionalism, but also your backstory. Are you happy to share that, how you got into all of this? Because it's really interesting.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. So I, in my previous career, I was international cabin crew for 10 years. So I was flying around the world. Yeah, yeah.
It always seems like a dream job, doesn't it? You know, flying, just jetting off somewhere exotic every day.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it is glamorous. You're staying in, you know, nice hotels, you're going to great destinations, you're having a great time. But there's like a darker side of it. So, you know, the flights are extremely long. Coming back into the UK, it's always a night flight. So, you know, sometimes I was up for 40 hours at a time, and you're eating obviously plain food, which is not great for you.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Of course, you know, the cabin crew have to eat the plain food all the time, day after day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's got lots of things in that aren't great for you. Also the caffeine to keep you awake, not very good for you either.
You get dehydrated, I guess.
Yeah, dehydrated, alcohol when you're drinking nice cocktails down route. And yeah, there's lots of other factors as well. So of course, you know, the air quality is not great. It's recycled air. So you're picking up lots of different bugs and stuff. And, you know, generally it's not the most hygienic of environments. You're sitting, eating your dinner next to like a rubbish bag and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, so maybe it doesn't sound quite so glamorous when you paint it like that. But what impact did that have on your health then, if you were doing it for so many years?
Yeah, so it, you know, took a real toll on my health. I had really bad digestive issues. I was suffering with bloating all the time, you know, really irregular bowel movements. But also my immune system took a real battering. I was really poorly all the time with, you know, coughs and colds. Had tonsillitis for 2 weeks. I couldn't get rid of it. Taking lots of antibiotics, it just wouldn't touch the sides.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But then on the other side of that, because of the gut issues, you have, you know, mental health symptoms. So I was, you know, had quite bad brain fog. I was having really bad mood swings as well.
Gosh, and you were young. I mean, you were what, in your 20s when you were doing this?
Yeah. So I started at 18 and I finished around 28. Yeah. So it was about 10 years. And, you know, I just thought there's got to be, you know, more to life than this. I've got to be feeling better. I need to change my diet and lifestyle. And I knew that my job was having a big impact on it. So yeah, I decided to take to Google, Dr. Google, and see what I could do to improve my symptoms. So I started eating more fruit and veg, having green smoothies, you know, going to the gym, for example. And then one of my fellow cabin crew members said to me, have you heard of these things called probiotics? I was like, never heard of them. What are they? You know, she's like, oh, well, I think they could be really helpful for bloating and for constipation. I had them before and they were helpful. So I got myself onto Google, again, looked for a probiotic, and Optivac came up. And it was their product. It used to be called For a Flat Stomach, but it's now called 1 week flat. So I ended up taking that for 7 days, and I was absolutely astounded at the difference it made. And I was like, wow, you know, this is great. So I then sort of like triggered a bit of a sort of interest in gut health for me, and I decided that I wanted to take it up and study it for, you know, a career. So I studied. Yeah, I studied for 3 years for a nutritional therapy diploma at the College of Naturopathic Medicine for 3 years. It was
amazing.
Hard work, but totally worth it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of learning. I mean, it's that's a serious course. I know it. And how amazing that you've done it through your own personal experience and seeing how something just like a really simple supplement for not very long could actually transform you and make such a difference.
Yeah, exactly. And when I qualified over 4 years ago now, I just knew I wanted to work for the company that had, you know, helped me personally. So I was really excited that they were, you know,
fantastic. So you come full circle, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've been here, you know, almost 3 years now, and I love it. Yeah, I love helping.
So you're an in-house nutritionist there, as well as having your own qualification.
Yeah, exactly. So I see people privately when I've got time in my own clinic, and helping those with IBS type symptoms as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we'll come on and talk specifically about that. I have to say, actually, that just as an aside, I've used Optibac for years. I mean, I've first used actually this one, which I know we're not talking about today, but I wanted to mention it because I think it might be useful for a lot of women, called the For Women one, the Intimate Flora. And I can see that that's just been upgraded actually, because I just bought some new ones, which has got, it's always had the, I think, the Reuteri in it and the Rhamnosus, which is two particular strains that I like, but it's now including Paracasey.
Yeah,
so it's really interesting that Optibac, do reformulate and do add new things in, as they do a lot of, I know a lot of their stuff is very, well, all of it is highly researched and evidence-based, so they will update things when you find out new things, because it's such an emerging science, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. So if we see a new strain that we like the look of, it's got good research for a symptom that we want to support for people, then we'll update the products. Yeah.
So then, before we go on to talk about IBS, can you just give us a quick overview, because I know this is new, Everyday Max. What is in here and why do we need to know about it?
Yeah, so Everyday Max, it's one of our everyday range, and it's our most premium product. So we have 75 billion live cultures per capsule.
75 billion?
Yes, per capsule. So, I mean, it's a good therapeutic dose, but it's, by no means very, very strong, too strong, because there's products on the market that have 300 CFU cultures per capsule. Yeah, so it's a nice dose. It's got 3 brilliant strains in here. So the strains are particularly helpful for supporting with the gut health and IBS type symptoms. So if you wanted me to go into a bit more detail about the strains and the research behind them,
I'd love that. Always love a bit of a deep dive into research, because it's, everything that we try and do here at Earle Wellbeing is very much research and evidence-based. It's not anecdotal evidence. It's not kind of, oh, my friend tried this and got better, because that's great, but it may or may not be relevant. But I think that the research is always, for me anyway, what I find completely fascinating.
Yeah, and the great thing about this product is they're extensively researched strains. So there's 3 different types of strains. And just to start with, before your viewers, before I go on, your viewers may like to know that the strain is the set of numbers and letters at the end after the species. So for example, Lactobacillus acidophilus NCFM. So Lactobacillus is the genus, Acidophilus is the species, and NCFM is the strain. And it's really important to know the strain. Yeah, because of the research, it's done at strain level basically. So you need to
kind of specific then, isn't it? So it's no good just saying it's Lactobacillus acidophilus. You need to know those little numbers at the end to know that that's the right strain that's going to help you.
Yeah, exactly. So this actual strain, the Lactobacillus acidophilus NCFM, is the world's most studied strain of Acidophilus. So it's got lots of research behind it, particularly helpful for things like abdominal pain and bloating. So in one study, it actually reduced IBS pain and bloating by 73%. So it's really brilliant.
73. Wow.
Yeah. So,
and how quickly would you see that kind of result, do you think?
So that was after 4 weeks.
Okay, just taking 1 capsule daily or 2 daily?
Yeah, so it's the strain level. So the research is different. It's done on like the CFU, so which is the live cultures, and the amount in that was used in that study. And we use the same amount or maybe more in our product.
Brilliant.
So you're getting the same, from the research. And that strain, Lactobacillus acidophilus NCFM, also has research for diarrhea, supporting IBS diarrhea as well.
Gosh, so if you are somebody with IBS, and that constipation, diarrhea, upset tummy, bloating that we'll talk about, and you do this for 4 weeks, you could expect 73% of those could expect to see a good result.
That's what the research says. Yeah, so it's really promising.
That's encouraging. That's really encouraging. Just a couple of questions coming up here on Instagram. So people saying they struggle to swallow capsules. Could you empty them out and put them into yogurt or something?
Yeah, of course. So the capsules in all of our range, they can be opened and mixed into cool, non-acidic foods. Yeah, so not too acidic, because that can harm the live cultures. Not too hot, because that can also harm them as well. So you want, the ideal carriers are things like yogurt, milk, or just a little bit of water.
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, if ever I'm giving my youngest, who's just turned 12, something like this, I actually pop it into yogurt, and he can't actually tell it's there, to be honest. And he likes his yogurt, so that's good. Any contraindications I'm being asked here, and any time of day that we need to take it?
So contraindications, so the best idea really is if you're on lots of medications, so to check with your GP. Immunosuppressant medications, you would have to check with your doctor first if you're taking those. Antibiotics, you should take them 2 hours away from the probiotic.
That's right. So I always thought that you couldn't take probiotics if you were taking antibiotics, but you can, and in fact you should, but take them separately. So if you're on your antibiotics, if you're taking that 3 times a day or whatever, the time in between after a couple of hours, you could then take your probiotic. Is that right?
Yeah, certain strains you can take at the same time. For example, Optibac do one called For Those on Antibiotics.
I've taken it myself. Yeah.
That one can literally be taken at the same time. But other ones that haven't got the research to say that they would survive alongside antibiotics, you would need to separate them by 2 hours.
Okay.
And then the other part of the question, I think they mentioned about the timing.
Yes.
We say it's best to take our products in the morning with breakfast, and that's because of the stomach acidity. You want it to be a bit lower, and then the food in the stomach. So we say with breakfast because that buffers the acidity a bit further.
That's really good advice. Thank you for that. And for someone like me who's intermittent fasting, I tend not to eat till like 11 or 12. So I guess that is my breakfast. So my stomach would still be empty. And that's the point, is it, that you're having it on a relatively empty stomach?
So it's better to have it with a bit of food. So if people are taking up fasting, then the best thing to do would be to have it with your first meal of the day, rather than having it earlier on in the day when you've got a purely empty stomach.
Okay, interesting. Okay, well, that is very good. So I know that they're dairy free, aren't they? I'm just being asked about vegetarians.
Yeah, so they are.
So there's no dairy, and they're vegan.
Yeah, vegan. They are soy free. There's no dairy. Suitable for pregnancy as well, which is great. IBS is a bit more common in pregnancy, unfortunately.
Is it? So why is that? Is it hormonally driven then?
Yeah, absolutely. To do with the changes in the hormones. Sometimes it can get better and sometimes it can get worse. So if you've had IBS, before you get pregnant, we did sometimes see it clearing up a little bit, but unfortunately it sometimes gets worse.
Sometimes it gets worse, but you can take these while pregnant, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely fine to take these whilst pregnant. Again, gluten-free, dairy-free as well. So
brilliant. And I've also seen on here that they're suitable from 4 years. So that's really good. So if kids have got upset tummies or have difficulty with certain types of foods.
Yeah, we have other products in our range that are more suitable for children, but then if they wanted to specifically take this one, then over 4, that's fine. Like I said earlier, you can mix them into non-acidic foods and drinks, so in cereals or yogurt as well, so it can be quite easily hidden. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
really amazing.
A couple of other strains we didn't mention. There's 2 more strains in this
there's
product.
2 more. That's more. Sorry,
there's more.
I got sidetracked. What else is in there?
I don't want to not talk about them because one of them is my favourite strain ever. So the Bifidobacterium lactis HN019 strain is a fabulous strain.
Is it?
Yeah, particularly for IBS.
Really?
Because, in a study, it showed that it improved 8 out of 9 symptoms in those with IBS, which is great. And the symptoms that improved were things like constipation, diarrhea, pain, bloating, nausea, vomiting, regurgitation, abdominal pain, and abnormal stool pattern as well. So they're all the things that are associated with IBS. And that was in a comparison to the placebo, and that only improved 2 out of the 9 symptoms. So it really is helpful.
Yeah, pretty conclusive.
Yeah.
And then there's another one in there as well, are you saying?
Yep, so the other final strain is the Bifidobacterium lactis, and that's the BL04 strain. And that one has been shown to be particularly helpful for after antibiotic use, actually, for dropping the gut back up to baseline level before antibiotics were taken, and also for helping with diarrhea and those associated sort of side effects as well.
Fantastic. And how long can you take these for? If somebody is experiencing any of these symptoms or just wanting sort of general good gut health, is it something that you take as a course and then stop, or do you take them daily, or do you take them kind of month on, month off? What would you say?
So you can sort of take them for as long as you would like to take them. You can take them ongoing, and that's absolutely fine if you want to take them ongoing. If you wanted just to try them for a month and see if they help, that's fine. There's no reason why you would need to stop them. So a lot of people come to us in the nutrition team and ask us, oh, should I stop taking them after a month and give, myself a break? Will I get used to them? Will I become dependent on them? And the answer is no, that you won't. And also you can just continue to take them, and it's not going to change the effectiveness of the product.
Because one of the things that I used to think, actually, before I researched my gut health book, The Good Gut Guide, is that if you take probiotics, you can kind of repopulate your gut, which you can do to a certain extent. But then if you looked after your microbes, they'd stay there. But unfortunately, they don't.
Yeah,
so you do have to keep taking your probiotics, don't you? To get
unfortunately, after about 2 or 3 weeks, they do sort of diminish and will stop exerting their benefits. And that's true for, probiotic strains in general. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the questions that I've got here. This is from Charlotte, who says, I stopped drinking alcohol 2 years ago. Amazing. I still sometimes get a bad stomach, i.e. such as diarrhea symptoms, for no reason. I'd always blamed alcohol. Although it's much better, it still hasn't gone completely. Any thoughts on how I can manage this, because there are no obvious triggers?
So I'd firstly say just to get in touch with the GP if you've got ongoing diarrhea. It's good to have, tests done.
Good point.
For other things, to rule out anything more serious. But if that's the case and everything's been ruled out, then unfortunately alcohol, it is like a bit of, if we think of like alcohol hand sanitizer, sort of sterilizing, killing off good bacteria, she may have a bit of an imbalance in the gut.
No, I'd never thought about that, Camilla. That's terrible. Does that mean that every time we have a gin and tonic, we're sterilizing our gut bacteria and killing them off?
No, it's in excess. So if you're drinking in excess, all at once. So if you're having gin and tonic a couple of times a week, it's not going to do the same. But if you're binge drinking or drinking a high quantity of alcohol at once, then it will have that sort of negative effect and kind of reduce good bacteria and increase bad bacteria. So she may find that taking a product like our Everyday Max to rebalance her amount of good bacteria and reduce the bad bacteria, then she may get some relief in her symptoms.
Very, very interesting. So this is from Valerie here, who says, I have a good diet, lots of veg and fruit, fish, legumes and good carbs, but I still get bowel issues, either constipation or constantly running to the loo, also cramping, pain sometimes, not sure how to treat. Some tips would be really helpful.
That's interesting, because a lot of those foods are actually what we call high FODMAP foods. So I don't know if you're familiar with the FODMAP diet.
Let's talk about FODMAP. FODMAP's fascinating. Can you explain what it is?
Yeah, sure. So the FODMAP diet is an acronym, and it's short for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but basically it just means fermentable carbohydrates in forms of foods or drinks that are poorly absorbed in the gut and can cause symptoms like bloating and gas. For example, things like wheat is one, dairy products, things like garlic and onions are really big triggers for people as well. Apples as well, another common trigger, and nuts, not so much nuts, but legumes as well, lentils.
Gosh, okay, so that's very interesting. So Valerie here, may think she's ticking lots of good boxes. Legumes, fruit, veg, maybe garlic, onions.
They're all very healthy foods.
Healthy foods, but if you are FODMAP sensitive, and is that something that you need to, do really carefully if you're going to follow a FODMAP diet?
Because, like you say, those foods are really healthy, so you don't want to be taking them out forever. So what you need to do is do quite a strict elimination phase where you take them out for 4 weeks, but you must bring them back into your diet one at a time and see which ones you can tolerate, because it may be that you can tolerate them in certain amounts. For example, you may just be able to have a piece of bread every 2 days, or once a week, for example, you can have some gluten, but some people may have to take it out of their diet But things like apples or garlic and onions, you want those foods back in your diet, and legumes as well, very healthy. So you have to find out exactly how much you can tolerate. And by doing that, you have to trial them back in your diet for 3 days, one at a time.
One at a time. Okay, so you take them all out. You can look up FODMAP online, and then you do like 3 days of having a little bit of onion. Is that right?
Yeah,
to see?
yeah. So you'll start off with a small amount, and then you'll have a bit more on the second day, and then on the third day you have like a portion, and see how you react and record your symptoms. And by the end of the reintroduction phase, you'll have a nice list of the foods that you can have, and in what amounts as well, because they're prebiotic foods in those groups as well, because things like garlic and onions, they may be quite painful for some people and trigger the symptoms, but for others they're extremely healthy, and they feed the bacteria in the gut. So you do want to have them in your diet, albeit maybe in smaller amounts.
Fascinating. And all the while, if you were doing that, could you have something like Everyday Max to complement that, to go alongside? You wouldn't need just to do the diet. It would be helpful to have some good probiotics helping.
Yeah, and the good thing about the Everyday Max is that it's actually prebiotic free. So you want to have a look for products that contain probiotics or live cultures, and also prebiotics, because the prebiotics are not low FODMAP. So if you're on a low FODMAP diet, then you don't want to be taking a product that does contain these prebiotics. For example,
so is that things like inulin?
Yeah, exactly. Inulin, things like fructooligosaccharides as well. They are prebiotics. So a lot of brands out there do combine the two. They're called symbiotics. So you just look out for that if you are following a lower FODMAP diet.
So while you're doing FODMAP for those 4 weeks, even more important then to make sure that you're not confusing the issue.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite a common mistake.
I just didn't know that. That's so fascinating. Thank you very much for sharing that. That's really interesting. So this is Essie, I think, on Instagram, who says, oh, poor lady, she says, I've suffered from IBS for 20 years, developed after having children. In the last 12 months, it's become much worse. Chronic constipation, pain, really impacting my life and day-to-day living. I'm on daily meds from a doctor, but they don't seem to work anymore. I'm back and forth to the GP, reached a point of needing a referral as the GP has run out of ideas. Any advice on how to get a referral? GP seems reluctant, and also what tests should I be asking for? Is there anything that we can help advise her with or suggest?
Poor lady, 20 years is such a long time.
It is terrible.
Yes, it's a really long time. I'm sorry that the medications don't seem to be working for her anymore. Unfortunately, the traditional medications, like the Imodium, for example, or Movicol, Buscopan, they are more of like a sticking plaster on a symptom. They're not really getting to the root cause of the issue.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the tests that she should be asking for, definitely ask the GP for a celiac test, a blood test as well, to rule out things like IBD, which is irritable bowel disease, which has very similar symptoms to IBS. So she wants to get those couple of tests to make sure that's not the case for her. So yeah, I'll definitely just push for that with your GP to get that ruled out in the first instance, and then potentially try something like a probiotic.
I wonder whether you have.
Yeah,
that would be very interesting to see how that goes. But you're so right, so many of these medications that we're prescribed are just sticking a plaster over the wound, but if you keep on cutting yourself, it's not going to help in the long term, is it? You need to find out what's causing it. And
actually some of those the over-the-counter medications, they can actually be quite detrimental in the gut bacterial balance as well. So long-term use of things like laxatives, we know actually reduce good bacteria in the gut. So IBS traditionally is an imbalance of gut bacteria. So if you're taking something that's going to further reduce good bacteria, then it's sort of perpetuating the issue, causing a bit of a vicious cycle.
I know that you've got a really good research team actually at Optibac, and that you have helplines and you're able to help people, aren't you, with specific concerns, which is really good. You're a good resource, because GPs, bless them, they've got to be, they're general practitioners, and they've got to be so knowledgeable about so many things, and they may not necessarily be up to date with the most.
And they just don't have the time, do they?
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. Whereas if you're with, one company that is just researching probiotics and gut health, you're likely perhaps to get a bit more of an up-to-date
Yeah.
steer on something. This is from Sarah in Suffolk, who says, any advice on combating bloating? So this is kind of quite general here. What would you suggest?
Yeah, that's a big one. Bloating, if it's chronic as well and it's happening every day, I would definitely have a look at your food diary. Start making a food diary if you haven't done this already. If there's something that could be causing it, there's apps out there you can use as well that make it really easy to track your food and your symptoms, see if there's a pattern. Yeah, and then taking something like a product with strains and that's been shown to support those with bloating can be really helpful.
There you go.
Yeah,
Everyday Max, that's the one. Certainly worth a try. You're not going to lose anything.
Yeah, and there's so many triggers for it as well. So many things can trigger bloating and IBS type symptoms. Medication, stress is a huge one,
especially at the moment.
Exactly.
Just being asked here about lactulose. I know a lot of people do take lactulose, I think, for constipation, if I'm correct. And it's quite sugary, isn't it? Because it's got the O's at the end, like sucrose and fructose and glucose. So that's a bit of a clue.
Yeah.
And Anna here on Facebook is saying, does that affect gut bacteria?
So anything that's got O's on the end may have an impact on the gut bacteria balance. I wouldn't worry too much about it if it's something that you're taking just now and again, which I guess for many people they do, then it will be absolutely fine. But I mean, if there's other ways that you can address constipation in a more natural way, things like flax seeds are really helpful, and things like drinking lots more water as well. Water.
So I had a really lovely meeting with one of the dermatologists here yesterday at Badregaz, and honestly, they're so knowledgeable and so interesting. I can't wait to share more of
I'm so jealous that you're there.
From here, I know. Oh my goodness, it's so nice. I'm definitely not an armchair researcher. I really do prefer to go out and actually meet people and talk to them face to face. And she was saying that 2 litres of water a day minimum. And I know this, sometimes can be quite controversial with medics, but she was saying, interestingly, that you should have that first ½ litre, so the first 500 mils, first thing in the morning, when you wake up, because you dehydrated overnight. And I think a lot of gut health issues can be helped anyway. I mean, may not be completely sorted, but can certainly be helped, can't they, by just having a bit more water?
Absolutely. So if anyone comes to me with constipation, the first thing I'll do is to tell them to drink water, because that can resolve it, pretty quickly. And it's inexpensive. Well, it's very inexpensive. And
you've got a tap.
Yeah, exactly.
We're so lucky. I've been in Kenya for a few months, and boy, you really appreciate turning on a tap and having water.
Clean water as well.
Clean water that you can drink.
Yeah.
And you can filter it if you want to, but the fact that you've got good quality water literally on tap, and even sometimes you get hot water. I mean, that's another real blessing. It really kind of it puts you back in touch with what's really important. And the good thing is that about wellness is so much of what we're talking about is easy and inexpensive. Water, fresh air, exercise, sleep, movement. Even things like these amazing probiotics, they're not expensive supplements, and you can boost them with things like yogurt and kefir. Are you a kefir fan, by the way?
Okay. I used to be obsessed with kefir.
Oh, good. We can stay friends then. Because I am like never knowingly under kefired in my household. I even travel with sachets of powders to make kefir.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Making it yourself is so satisfying as well. Unfortunately, I've sort of, got a bit slack on making it myself, but I do really enjoy it when I have it.
I love it. It's magical. You kind of put the grains or the powder in some milk and leave it overnight, and then you come down in the morning and you've got kefir. It's like, wow, what a gift.
And it's delicious as well.
So good. I mean, my kids actually, they turn their noses up a bit. And I used to leave it in the fridge, and then they chuck it out. They go, oh, that milk had just really gone off. And I'm like, it wasn't milk that had gone off. That was my kefir. But what I do when I travel, and obviously I'm only just beginning now to get back to being able to travel, is get somewhere new, is have the yogurt or the kefir. Because they say that in different locations, they contain different strains of bacteria. And you're kind of better protected from the local bugs because they've evolved to be in whatever location you're in, which makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah.
Okay, so can we come on here? Actually, this is interesting, talking about things like kefir, moving on from that. We've got a question on Instagram. Is it beneficial to eat fermented food such as sauerkraut? Would you think that has Is that good or bad if you're looking specifically at what we're talking about here, which is IBS and bloating?
Yeah, I think it's great to get a little bit of fermented food in your diet. You know, the thing is with fermented food is that you don't know exactly what probiotics are in there. So you don't know the strains. It will have some kind of global benefits all around for gut health. So I do think it's important to have them in your, you know, weekly diet. I love sauerkraut. I have it, you know, all the time. I love the taste of it. And, you know, things like apple cider vinegar as well, great probiotic salad dressings, and even just having it in your hot water and lemon. But yeah, you just have to be mindful that if you want to have something that's going to be specifically supporting the symptoms of IBS, then unfortunately fermented foods may not be the one.
You don't know. That's the thing. I mean, it's roulette, isn't it? I mean, it may have it in, it may not.
Yes.
So, you know, I think that's why if you are looking specifically for something to help.
Specific strains in products that have got the research behind them to support symptoms of IBS, rather than relying, or maybe just, you know, taking the fermented foods where you just don't really know. But
as you say, globally, for that whole impact in the gut and overall gut health, you know, really very good. And you shouldn't, I think conversely, you shouldn't then just say, oh, I'm fine, I've taken my probiotic supplement, I don't need to worry about having a diverse diet or eating a bit of
you need to
or live yogurt. You know, you do need the both, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's holistic. You want to have a holistic view on diet, lifestyle, and supplements. No one thing is going to, you know, put a stop to your IBS type symptoms. Unfortunately, it's multifactorial. There's so many different elements. There's so many different root causes. One thing isn't going to stop your symptoms. You have to take into account lots of other things, and diet and lifestyle are so important, especially in, you know, like we said briefly earlier, stress. And actually a massive amount of those with IBS do suffer from mood disorders. Actually 94%, I think, suffer from stress or anxiety if they have
So
IBS.
what's causing it? Is stress causing the IBS, or is IBS causing the stress?
It's the chicken or the egg, so we just don't know. I mean, the gut and the brain are so connected. There's a two-way highway of information. So if your gut isn't happy, then you're not happy, you know, vice versa. So we just don't know. But yeah, it's very hand-in-hand conditions. I
know a lot of people who do get their gut health sorted out do go on to feel happier and brighter and more cheerful, and you're thinking, well, is that because you're not in pain and you're not bloated anymore, or is it because your microbes are happier and they're sending all those happy chemicals up to the brain? Yeah,
exactly. It's so interesting. It fascinates the gut-brain connection.
Yeah. Can I ask you, on that subject, you just mentioned apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good thing? Are you a fan? Do you take it before meals? What would you suggest?
Yeah, I think that you have to be a bit careful with it, especially first thing in the morning with teeth enamel. I think that can be an issue. Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, in moderation, yeah, absolutely fine. Like to have it with, I mentioned salad dressings. It's great to have that, or maybe just as a little bit before a meal to help you, you know, break down food as well. Help to produce the digestive enzymes. So I think that can be really helpful.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of evidence. I want to do some more research into actually on helping control glucose spikes.
Oh, okay.
Before eating, so that's
so you'd have it before meals, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think lastly here, which I guess is a classic for me and for my audience here particularly, is there anything that we can do about the change in gut at menopause? And, you know, how do hormones affect our gut? And you talked about IBS being more common perhaps during pregnancy, it might flare up. Do you see it also flaring up around perimenopause or menopause?
Yeah, definitely. Because of that change in hormone, again, like the change in hormones, it will have that effect on the gut. And we do see it happen. I mean, particularly when you get past, I think, 55, you do see a reduction in beneficial bacteria, unfortunately. So that's probably where that link comes in alongside the hormones as well, and why a lot of women do experience digestive issues when they are going through the menopause.
It's really interesting to be aware of that, actually, and to know that that could be due to lowered estrogen levels. And presumably, because I know a lot of my community here on HRT, there's no issue with taking a probiotic if you're taking HRT, you're topping up the estrogen.
No, absolutely not. No, we have lots of women taking our products during the menopause, and who are also on these HRT patches as well, or whatever, however they choose to take it.
Yeah, good. And a bit of good news here. Stephanie actually on Instagram is saying mine is better since the menopause, strangely. So there you go.
Wow, that's fab. Yeah.
Just shows the hormones could be helping or not. Camilla, it's really lovely to talk to you. Can you give us some resources of where people can go if they've still got unanswered questions? I know we managed to get through quite a lot, but there may be people, too shy to have asked, or perhaps who didn't get their question answered. Where is the best place to either contact you or the OptiBac team?
Yeah, of course. So the nutrition team at OptiBac are always on hand to answer any questions about products, or if you just want to come to us with a health concern, we can point you in the right direction to the best product. So you can find us either on socials, drop us a DM, or you can go onto our website, use our contact us form, and that will directly take it to the nutrition team if you choose to select the option. And also you can give us a call as well. We can call you back, free 15-minute calls to discuss your health concerns as well.
That's fantastic. What a great resource.
Yeah, I mean, our website is brilliant as well. So if you just type into our website your health concern, then it will bring up, lots of different articles, FAQs, information that people can go and have a look at themselves.
Fantastic. And that's, what are you, optibac.co.uk?
Yeah.
I've got a note of it here. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And obviously on the Everyday Max, we have got 20% off if you want to try it with Liz Loves. So thank you very much to you and the team for that. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Brilliant stuff.
I think that runs to the 26th of May.
Oh, does it? Okay. So that's really good, because if you wanted to order one now to try it and it works, you can then go back on like the 25th of May, make a note in your diary, and order some more with the discount. Before it runs out. The website is optibacprobiotics.com. Okay, Optibac Probiotics if anybody wants it.
Yeah, probiotics.com. Yeah.
Great. It's lovely to chat to you, Camilla. Will you come back and chat again? Because I feel that
thank you so much.
There's so much to talk about. It's such a fascinating area. We've obviously had lots and lots of questions and comments. It's very relevant to so many of us. So thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Great, thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your time in Switzerland.
Thank you. Yeah, watch my Instagram. I can't wait. I'm going to be putting pictures on my stories of all the things that I'm going to be investigating. So
I look forward
I'm
to
hoping to get some real
real
nuggets of wisdom while I'm out here. So it'd be good to share. All right, my lovely. You're going to have to click off, because if I click off, then I run the risk of losing everybody.
Thanks so much, Liz. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Oh my goodness, wasn't that so interesting? So big thanks to Camilla Gray and everybody at OptiBac. And if you missed the beginning, don't forget that you can always watch it on catch up. We don't ever delete our recordings, so they stay on Instagram in the little IGTV section. Obviously Facebook, it's like a timeline, so you can just scroll back and you can find it on YouTube. I hope everybody is subscribed to YouTube, because we have so many good things that go up online all the time, including a couple of films that I'm filming here at Bad Ragaz. So you'll see those. The first one I think is going up tomorrow. So make sure that you are tuned into that. Just before I go, just to say, if you want more information generally about bloating and IBS and all kinds of gut disorders, I do have an e-guide that I wrote a couple of years ago that's just been updated, and that is the guide to the happier, flatter tum. Flatter being the key word. So that talks a lot about digestive issues. And it's got lots of links in there to podcasts and other things, so you might want to do that. I think, Rachel, you're on Facebook, aren't you? So you can maybe pop a link to that on Facebook if you are interested. Everybody on Instagram, just go to lizearlewellbeing.com and you will find that. What else can I tell you? So a lot of people asking about vitamins and nutrients. BioCare is another great British company that we have a great discount with, just to let you know. BioCare, that's 15%. So that's things like, I've got here my liquid zinc complex. I like their drops. So my kids, if they need B vitamins, for example, I've got here the B6 and the B12. I just put drops into liquid, and then they can drink them. Who's this? Oh, I would say, Politis, talking about Liz Earle Wellbeing. Yeah, they will be in your account, but if you want to email my team, it's about downloads, because you can have your own little wellbeing account on Liz Earle Wellbeing. If you email hq@lizearlewellbeing.com, they'll be able to talk you through how to get those back again. So I hope that you are able to get them, because there's good information in all of that. Good information, of course, in the magazine. Ta-da! There is a new issue, a brand new issue, just about to go to print, which will come out at the beginning of May, so not long to go now. So make sure that you are subscribed. If you would like to receive that in the UK, you can get it with free P&P. If you want to send it anywhere in the world, we can send it. You just have to pay the extra postage. And at the moment, there is a great free subscription gift. Just a few of these remaining. This is the MTHK eye supplements. So I'm taking these. I need to order some more because I'm nearly at the end of mine here. I take 2 a day. They've got the very interesting carotenoids for eye health. So specifically looking at things like macular degeneration, cataracts, eye health, really important in the summer as well, with all the increased UV affecting eyes as we age. And I have got that podcast with Dr. Dawn Sim coming up from the IGTV Live that we did before. So interesting. She's the professor at UCL in London and also Moorfields Eye Hospital, talking about eye health generally. Absolutely brilliant. And she is one of the team behind this. So I think very well worth having. And of course, if you've got dry eyes, then they've got the eye spray, which you can use even over makeup, like I'm doing now, just to refresh your eyes. And I do think if you don't want to get them free, if you want to pay for them, then you have a discount, I think, yeah, 10% off at mthk.com. But these eye vitamins, which are worth about £30, you get free with your subscription. So definitely worth having. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. 10% on MTHK. So that is just about it for now. Lovely to be with you. Thank you for your company. I hope that you enjoy all the content that I'm going to share in the next few days here from Switzerland. And there'll be lots more to come, obviously, in the days and the weeks to come. Thank you very much, Pen. Thank you for all your comments. Yeah, if you want to go to the Liz Earle Wellbeing website, I'm just being asked about supplements. You know, it's such a maze. And there are specific things, as you know, that I love. That's why they're called Liz Loves, because they are genuine loves. So if you go and look up Liz Loves, you'll see all sorts of things. So it depends what you've got issues with. You know, I love taking things like the saffron, the saffrosun for anxiety and mood. It's also, in my opinion, very good and very helpful for things like ADD, ADHD. They've got a children's version, which I've used in my family, which I really rate personally. And then things like the Natraflex, you know, from Naked Pharmacy, high strength turmeric, so brilliant for joint issues. That's the natural anti-inflammatory. So many good things from nature. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. I will be back on Thursday, also from here. And we're going to be talking more about supplements. So we're going to be keeping a bit of an internal theme. This time we're going to talk about fiber, really interesting in relation to everything, and specifically about weight loss. Yeah. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about that, I've got a great guest joining me, and we're going to have a deep dive into all of those things. So I'll pop a little kind of preliminary note on my Instagram and take questions on there as well if you've got questions. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for all your hearts. Really good. Oh, lovely to hear about saffrosun. Politis here says saffrosun is getting my daughter through her GCSEs. Good luck with that. I've got one at home at the moment, just finishing her 3rd year dissertation for her finals. Very stressful. So she is on all sorts of things, including saffrosun and magnesium and all of that. Anyway, I'm going to start. Oh, just to say, actually, I just picked these up from the spa here before I came on. It's a brand that I'd never heard of before. Maybe you have. It's Italian. Dr. Joseph. Lovely teas. Look at that beautiful greeny colour. And I just thought this was interesting because this is a digestive tea. And when I looked at the ingredients, I thought it was something that you might like to make at home because it's been chosen for its digestive properties. So we've got chamomile, mint, green anise, which apparently is similar in flavour to star anise. So if you like that flavour, look for green anise, and fennel. So those 4 things to make the digestive tea, if you want to copy that: chamomile, mint, green anise and fennel. That's their digestive blend. And then this one, which is a balance for antacid. So I guess that's like a kind of indigestion blend. And this has got all sorts of interesting things, probably too many to read out. Things like coriander, fennel, birch, licorice, anise, cumin, melissa, lime blossom, lots of good stuff. But, you know, it's really possible to make herbal tisanes at home we've got lots of ideas actually on the Earle Wellbeing website if you want to take a look. But there are lots of things that you can have. You know, perhaps stay away from the conventional teas and the coffee, which can upset tummies, and try a herbal blend. Why not? If you do, drop me a message. Let me know how you get on. I'd love to see it. Pop it in the comments, and I will share it with everybody. And you know, Dr. Joseph for skincare. Yeah, they seem to have really great skincare. I'm going to investigate those while I'm here. Anyway, that is it for today. I'll be back live with you on Thursday, same time, UK, 12:30. Look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, we've got new things going up on YouTube on our channel tomorrow, so don't miss that. But thanks for being with me. Take care. Bye-bye.